Hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode of the podcast that we are going to talk about. The movie that we're going to talk about tonight is the brand new 2019 movie called Brightburn. I have a very special, beautiful guest with me. This is my wife, Sam. Say hi, Sam.
Hi, Sam.
Not, yeah, and we just got home from the movies, and I can say that this movie was pretty cool, pretty good experience.
I liked it.
It was a fun date night. So we're gonna talk about this movie and what we liked, what we didn't like. You know how it goes. The reason we're talking quiet is because our children are sleeping and we don't want them to wake up. So just listen. Don't worry. We're not gonna get louder than this, and hopefully my audio is working well on uh on this one. I know the last podcast I did, it didn't come out very well. It was kind of weird. So this time I'm going to record it as well to make sure that if this sucks, at least I have like a nice audio recording.
A nice recording.
Yeah, like a nice recording to do this.
Mhm.
So since we don't have a crazy amount of time, considering that considering that our I have to work tomorrow and it's 10:50 right now at night. Let's just try and get into this and enjoy it. So this movie came out May 24th. So that's this weekend. That's today. Yeah, the movie came out today. We saw it opening night. Okay.
Oh, we did.
Yeah.
It didn't feel like it.
No, I didn't. It didn't.
No.
And maybe that's not a good thing.
Yeah.
Maybe that doesn't have a good future looking forward. But it came out today, May 24th, 2019. It was directed by David Yarovesky, and it was produced by James Gunn, the same guy who does the Marvel movies. What's it called? Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, so this movie stars Elizabeth Banks, David Denman, Jackson Dunn, Matt Jones, and Meredith Hagner, and it has a runtime of 90 minutes, which feels correct. It was we, we went in, the movie started at 8 plus previews, and then we got out at 9:30. So yeah, it was pretty.
But it felt long.
It didn't feel long to me. It kind of felt fast.
Really, I feel the opposite. It felt long.
Oh, well, I don't know. For me, it felt kind of fast.
It just felt dragged out. Maybe because we kept seeing some of the scenes. Like,
Played over and over
yeah.
again. Yeah, the
Yeah.
same tricks. Yeah, well, it was only 90 minutes though, and it had a budget of $6 million, which I can believe because there wasn't that much craziness in it. There was some special effects where I could see that the money went to,
Hmm.
but other than that, no, I don't see why it would have a huge budget. But it's definitely gonna make decent money, I believe, because it wasn't a bad movie. So,
No.
all right, so let's get into the plot of this movie. So I'm just gonna read this through. In 2006, Tori and Kyle Breyer are a farm couple living in Brightburn, Kansas. Before I finish this, mad spoilers. So if you plan on seeing this, there is spoilers. I put spoilers in the title, so you should know clicking this video or watching this video that there will be spoilers, but
Right.
got to give that spoiler warning anyways. So in 2006, Tori and Kyle Breyer are a farm couple living in Brightburn, Kansas. They are trying to have a child but have failed to conceive. One night, a meteor falls from the sky near them, near their farm, with a baby that's inside. Sounds a little bit like Superman. They decide to adopt him, naming him Brandon. 10 years later, Brandon discovers that he has superhuman strength after strange voices in his head tell him to plunge his hand into an active lawnmower blade. That same night, Brandon sleepwalks to the farm, trying to open a trapdoor which contains a spaceship that he arrived in. Tori intervenes and wakes him up. Brandon appears delirious. After this, Brandon grows more disobedient and disrespectful towards Tori and Kyle. To his father's surprise, Brandon chews and bends a fork with his teeth, again appearing delirious. Kyle begins to suspect that something is wrong with Brandon. Tori finds strange and disturbing drawings, leading Kyle to talk with Brandon about puberty and girls. That night, Brandon goes to the house of his classmate Caitlin, staring at her through a window until she notices him. The next night, Kyle discovers that their chickens have been slaughtered. Tori suggests that it's a wolf attack, but Kyle insists that Brandon is responsible. The next morning at school, students do a trust fall exercise, but Caitlin does not catch Brandon, calling him a pervert for spying on her. Brandon breaks Caitlin's hand when she tries to pick him up under the orders of the gym teacher. The principal suspends Brandon for 2 days, reporting to his aunt, who's played by Meredith Hagner, for counseling afterwards. Later, Tori finds her son levitating above the open trapdoor, as we all do at some point in our lives. And the trapdoor is containing the hidden spaceship, repeating the phrase, "Take the world," in an alien language. Brandon visits Caitlin, who tells her mother, who tells him her mother has forbidden him hers. Let me scratch that. Brandon visits Caitlin, who tells him her mother has forbidden her to talk to him. A furious masked Brandon murders her mom in a diner. Um, Merrily, who's that? Someone tries, oh, the aunt. Merrily tries counseling her nephew to no avail. She gets angry and decides to tell the police about the situation, so Brandon follows her home and threatens her. Merrily's husband, Noah, finds himself in the closet and decides to tell his parents. Donning his mask again, Brandon attacks Noah and kills him in his car when he tries to drive away. Tori and Kyle learn of Noah's death and are alarmed when Brandon does not emotionally react to the news. Convinced that Brandon killed Noah, Kyle takes him on a hunting trip with the intention of killing him. Kyle shoots Brandon in the head, but the bullet simply bounces off. Heartbroken, Brandon fires lasers into Kyle's head, killing him. Meanwhile, Tori finds drawings depicting the various murders in Brandon's room and calls the police. Brandon arrives at the house, destroying it while brutally murdering the arrival officers. Tori goes down to the basement where the spaceship is and takes a sharp piece as a shiv, hoping it will serve as his weakness, aka kryptonite, as it had previously made him bleed. Brandon finds Tori, who tried to stab him. Enraged, he lifts her up above the clouds and drops her to her death as a plane flies towards him. The plane crashes and everybody on board is killed. News reports talk about the crashed airplane. The final news report shows Brandon destroying cities and killing numerous people worldwide. So that's the plot of this movie.
Yep, sounds right.
So without getting too deep into detail, what did you initially think of it when it ended?
I liked it, but I felt like, well, what else? It kind of felt like it wasn't done.
Yeah.
I kept waiting for more. I thought that at some point something was going to like say more about what was going on, or some superhero come through at the end where they kind of show a glimpse of him, like this is the guy that's going to take Brandon down. But it was just kind of like left open where it was Brandon's destroying things and that's it.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, okay, so we're all gonna die. That's what you feel like,
Pretty much.
yeah.
Yeah. So my initial thoughts of it coming out of it was I was a little bit underwhelmed. I think it was kind of a cool premise. It's kind of like the reverse Superman story
Right.
where the kid comes from space and he's a baby and two farmers raise him and and then instead of being good and becoming Superman, he ends up becoming a bad alien and wanting to just kill the world, take the world, as he said. And I think it was a cool concept, because you always hear about stories like this where an alien comes down and then he's like Superman or he's, Goku from Dragon Ball Z or something like that.
It made me think of that.
But instead, it was just he was like, "I'm gonna destroy everything," and I was like, "Cool, let's just see some death and destruction. Like, if that's what this movie's gonna do, let's see it." And I kind of feel like they didn't really do much of that. It was kind of like he killed a few people, and then he just kind of went crazy and kind of destroyed his house.
Right.
And at the end, I'm happy they did show him like destroying buildings and cities and stuff because that's kind of
Right.
what I wanted in the movie, but I didn't really necessarily want it for like the last minute of the movie. I wanted it to be like the finale. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Um, so so that was kind of my overwhelming or underwhelming thought of the movie was that it was like, come on, you could have given me more. But I guess with a budget of 6 million, how much
That's
can
what
you
I was
really
gonna
do?
say. Yeah. Well, I think you see like the Avengers
Yeah,
and you see the Justice League and all these people bringing out these superhero movies. I feel like this movie was more, let's see if they like this character or if they like the idea of a villain movie,
And
villains
then make
movie,
sequels
and
after
then
that.
let's make sequels. And they didn't want to spend all this money on a movie that nobody will want to really see. The idea is cool, but just seeing bad kind of be the main source, the main thing that you're looking at, it doesn't I don't know if that's something I would want to watch.
Mr. Haunted, thank you for the $2 donation. I'm glad you liked Brightburn. I know you can't stay, and I hope you're still here to hear this, but thank you, buddy. Um, and everybody in the chat, someone says, "Can I be your child too?" um, Annie Turlin says, "Hi, Sam." T.
Hi.
Silla says, "Love your scary stories." Thank you. I know this is a podcast, so it's not up your alley, but I hope you like this too. JSE says, "It's 25th here. The future sucks." um, and Christina says, "I liked this movie." So, okay, I hope we don't rip this movie apart too much for your guys' taste. But so, Sam, hun, I want to ask you, who was your favorite character in the movie?
Um, I when you ask that, you have to think who was I the most excited to see, and it would have to be Brandon. That's who you're the most excited to see. The other characters were kind of just there. So I would
Okay.
say Brandon and maybe the mom because I know they had a connection together. So I felt like he was normal around her
Mm-hmm.
and everybody else he was weird around.
Oh, yeah.
I felt like when they were together, he was a normal boy and then he was just a weirdo around everybody else. Even the girl he liked, he was a weirdo staring in on her
I
from the
thought,
window.
I thought that, and maybe my mind is just too dirty or demented as of now, but I thought we were going to get a rape scene. Did you feel that? Because he has the talk with his dad in the woods where he's talking
Right.
about like jacking off and that's okay, which was, I was like, okay, so when my son turns 12, am I going to tell him that it's okay to play with his wiener? Because that's exactly what the dad said. So,
Weird. Yeah, I don't know.
and then Brandon was like, so you mean like I can act on those feelings like right now? And the dad was like, what do you mean right now? Like it's just you and me. And I thought like I was really hoping it wasn't gonna get like twisted, where he's gonna be like, well, you're not like my real dad, and I'm attracted to you. So I
Okay,
didn't
yeah.
think that was necessarily gonna happen, I but then like right after that, when he shows up in the girl's room, like I already know this movie's rated R, and I already know that it's already kind of twisted. I thought
Yeah.
maybe he was gonna like rape her, and we were gonna get that because he already like killed somebody, I think, or not. Maybe not at that point
No,
yet,
not yet.
but I thought he was definitely going to at least like pin her down and just like because the dad said basically like it's okay to give into those feelings, and since he's like super strong at this point, I
Yeah.
thought maybe he was gonna do some weird hold her down kind of stuff, and I was really not wanting to see that, and
Yeah.
I'm glad they didn't. So that was cool. But okay, so who was your least favorite character?
Well, before we finish talking about that, I felt that same way too.
Oh, about the rape.
Yeah, well, the way that it's set up, first off, why is the dad saying it's okay to give into your urges? That's a really weird way of saying it's okay to jack off. Like, just say it's okay to jack off once in a while.
Well, I mean, he did
But
eventually say that.
I know, but it's okay. Like, the moment he said that, that's when he was like, right now? Like, it looked
I
like
could
he
do
was
whatever I want.
like he wanted to take off and go find her. I
Yeah.
didn't think anything weird was going on between them two, but I felt like he felt weird. Like the dad was
Like, what do you mean right this very second?
like not me.
Yeah.
But I didn't feel like a rape scene was going to happen. I felt like it would be more like
Just like supersonic fast hardcore jacking.
no.
Like, Brandon, where are you in the woods? We can't find him. And he's behind a tree. He's just like, oh, he's like humping a tree or something.
No, I didn't think that. I think I thought more like he would be staring at her while she slept or you know, I don't know, something weird, like maybe try to kiss her while she's sleeping. I didn't think that anybody was going to be raped, but I get how you felt that way because my mind kind of went there too with the way he was just eager to go on that. How he
Yeah.
was just like, right now?
Yeah. It was like literally the next scene after the dad was like,
Right.
it's okay to give into that. And then he shows up in the girl's room and he already knows he's super strong.
Yeah, and he's scary about it with the music playing,
Yeah,
and then she turns it you would think he would know she was freaked out,
he
and
didn't care.
and she turns off the music, and then he goes back and turns it back on, and she's just, like, freaked out, like, if you want her to like you, why are you being weird and scary?
Well, that's why I thought like maybe some sort of rape scene was happening because it
Yeah.
seemed like he wasn't trying to be like a romantic, like when Edward in Twilight showed up in Bella's room, you know, and then she
Yeah,
just jumped his bones, you know. Which how does a vampire get a boner if they don't have blood?
I don't know.
Yeah, you got to think about those things.
Glitter? I don't
He's a
know.
glitter
I
boner.
just think it's glitter.
It's like when he like jacks off and he just like ejaculates. It's just like a giant rainbow of glitter dust, like a unicorn jumps out and it's like, "You've released me from my prison,
Oh my gosh.
which is your vampire balls."
Anyways,
Okay, so
least favorite character.
who's your least favorite character?
Okay. Um, I didn't like the girl, the love interest.
Okay,
And the reason I didn't like her is I feel like they were trying to make her look younger. So she kind of talked with more of a squeaky talk. I don't know if that's how she actually sounds, but when she was talking, it just sounds like she was changing her voice to
so
make
you
it
feel like
sound
the
younger.
actress was older?
Yeah, and then they had her I don't know if you remember this part, but when she was laying on her bed and she had her broken arm, she was in, like, dinosaur pajamas. I'm like, she's 13 years old, and nobody wears pajamas like that anymore. Like, 13-year-olds wear T-shirts and
Honey, you wear dinosaur pajamas.
oh, well, I'm a dork. No, but I'm saying I feel like they were making her younger, and I just wasn't buying it.
Okay. I kind of okay, see, I didn't think they were trying to make her younger, but I did definitely look at her and I was like, "You look like older." Like you did not look your age
Well, she's 13 for one,
or
and
12.
or 12. And anybody who knows 12-year-olds know they don't act like that. She
I don't
was
know.
acting like she was 9 years old. And then when
My
she
mommy says I can't talk to you.
yeah, that and when the trust fall thing happened,
And she's like, "Ew."
"Ew, you're a
I don't
pervert."
know. I knew 12-year-olds that I knew like 16-year-olds that were like, "Ew."
Yeah, but I don't
I don't
know.
know.
I didn't like her. I didn't like how she just was like, "I know you were in my room last night." I don't know. I just felt like she turned on him fast.
Oh, one of the kids is awake, so
Uh, well,
you go
I'll go
get
get the baby.
him while I talk about who my least favorite character was. See, this is the problem when you do live streams. Things get in the way, aka our children. Um, okay, so my least favorite character was. Wait, I didn't say who my favorite character was. So my favorite character, I would say, is the dad. And the reason why I feel like the dad is my favorite character is because when stuff started going down, he was like, "It's Brandon, it's Brandon," you know, and he wasn't like playing this denial role like the mom was, where she's like, "He's my baby. He would never do this." Like it totally makes sense that it was Brandon, and all the people that were dying around him and getting hurt were people that Brandon was directly related to. The girl in his class that he has a love interest in breaks her hand. Her mom disappears like that night, and then his uncle, disappears. And it's like, are you kidding me? Like, how do you not think it's Brandon? And then all the chickens get slaughtered right after Brandon is staring. You know what I mean? At the chickens, like literally the same night. Come on, like the dad was like,
Yeah.
"It's totally Brandon," and the mom was in denial. So, um, let's see. I think my least favorite character is probably going to have to be, honestly, probably gonna have to be Elizabeth Banks, like the mom. Like I think she acted well and that was fine,
Mhm.
but I also feel like she definitely was in denial. And I don't know, maybe as a mom of a 12-year-old, you don't want to admit that your kid is like a psycho, but I don't know. I mean, it's not like she doesn't know that he's an alien. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
So, anyways, let's get into let's just talk about like our top highlights of the movie, things we liked, things we didn't like, but let's just talk a little bit about it. So, I kind of feel like this movie was predictable. I kind of knew. almost every scene that was going to happen. And I think the sad part about this movie is that it was a very, very weak story. Like there was nothing interesting about the story. It literally was a Superman ripoff. But it's like the people in the writers' room were like, let's write a Superman movie, but let's make the boy bad. That's and they're like, okay, cool. That's our movie, honestly.
Yeah.
And I felt like every scene was predictable. So like I knew in the beginning when he first started talking to that red glowy spaceship, I was like, this seems like a coming of age type of thing. Like, why hasn't in the previous 12 years hasn't he been drawn to the spaceship? And I think it's because he turned 12. And then the following scene was him at the diner for his birthday. And I was like, I knew it. I knew this had to do something with his birthday.
And what a lame birthday.
Well, I mean, he got a gun though. That was pretty cool. Like I've never got a gun for a birthday present.
Yeah, but he's 12 years old and his birthday's at a diner just with his aunt and
Yeah,
his.
but they're in like Kansas.
Yeah.
It's not like they live in LA where it's like happening, you know? Like they live in Kansas. His mom and dad are farmers,
And he doesn't have any friends.
and he has no friends because he's an alien boy. So I mean, it makes sense that those would be like his only people to celebrate with. But you would think it would be at the house or something,
Yeah.
you know? But
I thought that was weird.
it's cool. I don't care. I didn't. That didn't bother me that it was at a diner. But one thing that did bother me was I think after the dad blows up on the kid and the kid throws him into the wall, right after that, um, the mom is like mad at him for because she thinks it's like the dad's fault that her brother-in-law died. And so she's like, you shouldn't have let him drink, which first of all, that's effed up. Like, don't blame someone's death. You can't take that back once you put somebody's death on somebody's hands. It's not like, hey, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to pretty much like blame you for the death of a loved one. And it's like,
Right.
well, you kind of did. You know what I mean? But I think the next following scene after the dad is looking at all the to dad love Brandon cards, and he gets into bed and he tells his mom or tells his wife, I'm gonna take Brandon out for the weekend, just me and him, to tell him how much I love him. I instantly knew at that moment that he was planning that trip so he could shoot or try and kill Brandon. And
Right.
then literally the next scene was them loading the truck, and when I saw the dad's rifle I was like, confirmation, I'm extremely right. I knew that's what was going to happen. So, and then when he kills, and I knew he was going to shoot Brandon in the head and nothing was going to happen. So, to me, it was not any sort of surprise or shock when all that stuff took place. It was kind of like, okay, once he shoots him, I wonder how he's going to die. Not, I can't believe he's going to kill his dad. So, what do you think about all that?
Um
By the way, our daughter is awake, so she might be loud and disruptive, but who cares?
okay, so what was, and I can say any part that's,
Yeah, this is spoilers.
yeah, okay. The part that sticks out to me the most would have to be the scene where Noah dies.
The
His
dad.
uncle.
Oh, uncle. Yeah.
His uncle. And just that was the first time where, well, I guess there was that scene with the waitress where the glass eye.
Oh,
That was so cringy and just uncomfortable to watch. But that scene sticks out to me because one, that's his uncle. So now he's killing people he knows that are close to him. And two, it sticks out because his jaw is
yeah.
separated from his face. And then he goes and sticks his finger in it and makes
Oh,
his little sign on the floor.
that just gave me chills remembering that.
I
It
but
also might be cold in here. That's why I got chills,
yeah.
but I think it's the gross part.
Well, I think that was a good scene. It just shows how demented he is and how like crazy he is. He's not like,
This ain't your grandma's baby.
well, no, he's just not, he doesn't view them as family. When he went to the aunt's house, it was to kill her. And he tried to give her a way out by saying that she wasn't going to tell the police. But in his mind, he's thinking, well, either that or I kill you.
Why didn't he kill her?
I think he didn't kill her because he knew that the death of her husband was going to be a distraction for her, and it was going to kind of, like, throw the scent off of him, you know?
You think so?
Well, I think that's what he was
Or do
thinking.
you or do you think it really comes down to the fact that he's a 12-year-old boy at the end of the day, and 12-year-olds don't think about every possibility? Do you think he just didn't kill her because the dad or the her husband ended up coming home and he just killed him instead? Because if you really think about it and dissect it, he was at the aunt's house. He could have killed her. She knew he was there and he didn't kill her. And then he killed her husband. And then he comes home and he makes up some BS story about playing soccer all night. And then it's like, did you think that your mom's sister is not going to mention that you were at her house
Well,
being
yeah,
weird
he's not
and threatening
smart.
her?
He's not smart for sure.
Because he's
He
12. Well, actually, he's very smart, which contradicts itself a little bit.
he's not smart. He's book smart, but he's not, like, he's 12.
Yeah, he knows a lot about bees and
He's
wasps.
immature.
Yeah.
He does everything based off emotion. If he was an adult and making these decisions, they would be different. He would kill them in more of a planned out way. But since he's 12 years old, he goes off of emotion. That's why most of every single time he's killed somebody, it's because they've pissed him off. And then
Or they're like a direct threat to his safety.
we'll think about, um so his first kill was what?
The diner lady.
The diner lady. And that's because the girl was like, "I can't talk to you. My mom told me not to."
Yeah.
Okay. So his first emotion was like, "I'm gonna kill her." And then,
Simple as that. She gonna die.
yeah, and then he kills, the next kill was who? I don't really,
The next kill was got to be the uncle then.
yeah,
He only
was the
killed
uncle.
like 5, 6 people.
Well, that every time he has killed somebody, it's been off of emotion. The way a 12-year-old would think. Like, this hurt my feelings, so now I'm gonna kill you. And then he came to the aunt's house because she knew he was, or he knew she was going to tell on him.
Yeah, so kill her right there. She was by herself. But he didn't.
I think he wanted to give her a way out. I don't think he wanted to kill her. I don't think he wanted to kill his dad either.
I mean, he killed his mom. So why
But
would
that was after they tried to kill him.
that's true.
That's why I'm not sure if he would have killed her at least that day. I think eventually he might have, but I don't think he wanted to kill her.
You know what bothered me about that scene though with the aunt
Hmm.
is he's talking to her and he's trying to like confide in her a little bit. Actually, he's only there really just to warn her to not go to the cops. But then she's kind of like, Brandon, you need to go home. This is inappropriate. And it's like he's not just an actual student from the school showing up at the counselor's house. Like he's your nephew.
Yeah.
Why is it so inappropriate that your nephew's there?
And then she tells him to walk home.
Yeah, give him a freaking ride home. You don't know he's
Well,
an alien.
yeah. It's just weird. Imagine if one of our kids walked, to one of their aunts or uncle's house. Wouldn't
Like
you be kind of pissed off if
I'd
they
be
were
like, you
like
let my 12-year-old
yeah,
walk home at 10 o'clock at night.
yeah, and it's like
Yeah, it was kind of weird.
it was weird. There, like I said, I feel like this movie was just a line casted out just to see if anybody would buy it. And I hope that it's enough to where people do like, I actually like the movie.
Yeah,
I did. I know we're talking about not all the great parts about it, but I think that the concept is cool. I
yeah,
like the reverse hero because you see the Avengers, you see Justice League, you see, Shazam. It's all these hero movies that have been coming out,
yeah.
and it's nice to see something different.
Yeah, well, that's why when I saw the trailer, I was like, when you said you wanted to see it, I was
Mhm,
like, yeah, I want to see that too with you. But
mhm,
I really wanted to see it because you wanted to see it.
mhm.
But then I watched the trailer and I was like, oh, dang, like he's gonna kill some people. He's like evil. This is gonna be cool. But they never really did anything extremely cool. Like the coolest thing was when he killed his dad with his like lasers and he like shot him through the head.
He shot him through the eyes.
Well,
He
yeah,
looked through his eyes
yeah, and
and
shot
killed
his
him.
lasers, and then
Yeah.
it shot out through the back of his head, and I was like, that was the coolest kill, I thought. because you got to see his powers. I don't know if he
Yeah.
only has speed, flight, eye vision, and strength, and he's invincible or not. I don't know because they never really explained it. And then, like I was telling you on our way home, I don't necessarily need movies to always be like, where did the aliens come from? Why was his purpose? Like, explain all that. I'm not that kind of guy. But for this movie, like I said, it was a pretty weak story. It was just these two people that got a kid, and then he gets 12, and then he hears some voice from an alien ship, and then he just kills people. Like, where's the story? Where's the twist, or where's the
Why is that thing lighting up?
why is it lighting up on his 12th birthday? Does he does he not have powers until that day? Did he, you know what I mean?
Well, the dad says he's never bled or bruised.
So he's always had the powers
So
then.
he must have had the powers, at least some type of the power, maybe just not all of it, not the flying, not all those. I mean, how many times has somebody actually tried to fly?
I mean, I did,
Besides you.
and it didn't work. But I'm sure a lot of people have jumped into the air at least once and hoped.
Well, maybe that wasn't enough. Maybe he needed to jump off of something higher to
Well, the
really
first time
see.
he jumps off, it's like out of the second story window, and he just like smacks the ground. I thought the mom was gonna go out of the house and walk out front and see him like laying there and be like, "Oh my God, Brandon!" And then he like gets up like, "Oh, I'm okay," but it never showed that. He just like
Yeah.
falls out.
It was a weird movie. I like the concept. I like the idea of a not a hero, just somebody who's bad.
That has
Because
powers.
you wanna see them do the bad things. You wanna see them kill these people in different ways using their powers. For me, I didn't really like how he it just seemed like there needs to be more to the story.
Mhm. Okay, I get that. Also, I couldn't help but think of the movie Chronicle
Yeah.
while we were watching this, and how those people get their powers, and two of them use it for good, and then the other one believes he's like the alpha male, and so then he starts killing everybody at the end.
Yeah.
And I don't know the budget of Chronicle, so they could obviously probably do a lot more, but that was a found footage film, so they probably could spend more of the budget on his actual powers in Chronicle. But I kind of wanted the end of this movie to be a lot more like the end of Chronicle, where he's just like destroying buildings, and like the entire police force is trying to shoot him down and kill him, and like nothing can stop him pretty much. And it was just like, oh my gosh, because the end of Chronicle was crazy. But this movie, like, it was cool to see him like tearing up his house and killing the cops and everything. And it was really cool to see him take his mom and just like break through the shed or the farm, whatever.
Yeah.
But and what I was really hoping wouldn't happen was that him and his mom would break through the roof, and then she didn't have a cut on her, because like the minute they did that, I was like, oh, she should have broke her neck or something,
Yeah.
But and then when they showed her all beat up and cut up and all that stuff, I was like, okay, that's cool. I like that they stayed true to that. And then when he like dropped her, I was like, dang, this kid's evil. And then okay, and then when the plane is coming at him, I was like praying that you were gonna get to see him like slice it in half with his eyes or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Or like,
they didn't.
but then it instantly just went black, and then all of a sudden there's all the wreckage.
They did that a couple times, didn't they?
Not
Where
really. They didn't do much with his powers.
no, I'm saying where it's him about to use his powers, or you don't really see him, or you see his, like, feet, but you don't see him tearing stuff up. It's just,
Yeah.
like,
Well,
little
it's to save money. That's
yeah,
all that it was. It was to
yeah,
save money. And then I don't know. I kind of just wish they would have thrown more stuff into it. And I appreciate the gore because that was kind of cool. I didn't expect to see that, but
yeah.
I don't know. So let's stop talking about how much we disliked certain parts, and like talk about some like really cool parts. And I thought what was really cool was was probably when he would get angry because you didn't know what he was about to do. And I liked when he was chewing on the fork because I was like, dang, that's crazy. But man, I hate to sound like I hate to sound like I didn't like this movie,
Mhm.
but there was just so much that was like almost cool, but then it didn't get cool enough. Like chewing on the fork, that was cool. But Also, I didn't find it realistic right afterwards when the dad sees it and then goes upstairs to tell his wife, like, "Our son just chewed up a fork." You know what I mean? But he goes up there and he's like, "We need to talk." And then she's like, "Look at these pictures." And then he instantly just drops it and never brings it up again.
It's like he was chewing on a fork and
If that
it
was our
bent.
yeah, if that was our son, I would have been like, "Do you know what our son was just doing?" And then she would have been like, "Look at this." And I would have been like, "No, no, no. Like, our son just chewed a fork. We could talk about those pictures later."
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Madame Raven says, "I liked it, but the boy looked like a younger version of a bad person in my life." Oh, well, I didn't know that was a thing. I'm sorry that somebody in your life looks like him. He kinda reminded me of, like a younger Brandon Stark.
Oh, man. There's somebody that he looks like that was a kid actor too, and I can't place my finger on it. I can't
Here no,
remember.
I know who it is. It's Finn Wolfhard from Stranger Things. It's the kid from Stranger Things that's into Eleven.
I don't think so.
I think so, but, maybe I'm wrong, but yeah, he kinda has, like, one of those faces that
Yeah.
it's like a common looking face because it's so weird looking that it's kinda common,
Yeah.
but he was okay. I kinda liked him. I didn't think his acting was that bad.
I thought he did good.
Yeah, he was
Um,
cool.
the parts that I liked. Oh, one of the earlier scenes when that ship is calling out to him and he
Gosh, 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 gosh.
and then you see him in the barn grabbing at those doors and he's
Just
shaking it,
yanking it.
and I was like, "Is this a possessed movie?" I felt like he was possessed.
Or when he was floating in the air above it.
Yeah,
Didn't you
he
feel like for
looked
a minute he was
possessed.
gonna, like, contort and his body was gonna be like
Yeah,
and he
I
was
thought
gonna, like, twist?
he was going to turn into his real form because you know he's an alien going in. You know that they found him.
Yeah, but why? What kind of alien? Like, what was his purpose? Like, I understand the thing was like, "Arr, arr, arr," and he was like I liked how he kinda was like, "That means take the world." But why? Like, are you an alien from an alien race that still exists? Is that gonna be in the sequel? Maybe? I don't know. And then I like that they threw in the dude from Walking Dead, Merrill, at the very
Oh,
end.
yeah.
He was like a YouTube channel that's like a conspiracy theorist kind of,
Yeah.
and he was like, "You guys gotta stop this now." Rah, rah, rah. But that was
Yeah.
kinda stupid too, like, I don't know. I didn't hate the movie. I kind of liked it,
Mhm.
but it's not one I would ever watch again.
I was gonna say, would you buy it on Blu-ray?
Absolutely not.
I feel like I would.
No.
I liked it.
No.
I'm saying, and I know it probably sounds like I don't, but I did. I was entertained. It wasn't the greatest movie. The story was a little weird, the way that they, filmed it and all, but I was entertained the entire time. There wasn't a time where I was just sitting there like, "Ugh, when is this gonna end? I'm tired."
Right. It wasn't a drag.
No.
You were just like, I looked over at you and you had your blanket over your face kind of, because it was like a thriller. I don't know if this was meant to be a horror movie or not.
I don't think so. I think it was
It
suspenseful.
definitely had, like, horror elements to it, though,
Mhm.
like the glass in the eye,
Ugh,
and then the
yeah.
jaw on the ground, and then burning through the dad's head, and then, when he killed that lady cop at the end, and her body fell down, and she was like,
Oh,
like, that was
I could
disgusting.
do without that.
The
That
sound.
grossed me out. Whenever they're talking, when their jaws are barely hanging on and they're just like, I'm like, "Ugh,
Yeah, that was
gosh,
disgusting.
gross."
But there was cool elements. I liked the special effects. The gore was cool.
Mhm.
I liked him flying. I liked, his laser eyes, and I liked that moment when he sticks his hand into the lawnmower, except I didn't buy it. I didn't buy that. Like, he throws the lawnmower on accident, realizes he's super strong, and then the next move is like, "I'm gonna just stick my hand in these blades." Why? You know what I mean? Like, why don't you test it out a little bit? Like, bang your head into the wall first, and if you don't feel anything, then stick your hand in a blade.
I just and at that point, was that the first time something where he recognized his powers?
That was the first time he recognized his powers. It wasn't the
Mm.
first time he had powers, because the first time was when he was sleeping in bed and the ship was calling to him, and then he was kind of in a catatonic state.
Oh, yeah, and he was like, "Why am I here?"
Yeah,
Yeah.
but the first time he realized he had powers was when he threw the lawnmower.
Do you think something was talking to him and telling him to do
I
it?
don't know because they didn't explain any of
It
that
feels
stuff.
like something's telling him to do these things.
Well, yeah, it's the people. It's a spaceship.
So do you think there is a part of him that's good? Or do you
No.
feel like he's
No, no,
full
no.
evil?
Okay, so you kinda have to, like unless they explain this stuff in the sequel, if they have a sequel, you have to kind of just assume that he was sent to Earth to destroy it
Right.
because, I mean, there's nothing else that leads you to believe that he was exploring a new planet or something.
Mhm.
Like, it seems like his mission, maybe on his 12th birthday, was to now you finally, like, get your powers or something, and you can now destroy the Earth, which I would have
Yeah.
loved to see him doing a lot more death and destruction.
Right.
Instead of killing, well, see, he only killed, like, 6 people. The mom, dad, the the mom of that girl,
The
his
waitress, yeah.
uncle, and then the 2 cops. So, yeah, he kills 6 people, and then at the end, he takes down a plane of, like, 240 or something. So, technically, he kills, like, 250 people in the movie,
He
but
kills more than that
oh,
because
yeah,
he
and then the
goes through
cities
those
and stuff.
buildings and yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know. Like I said, I didn't not like the movie, and I wasn't bored. I was entertained
Yeah.
enough. But again, I think the best word is underwhelmed for me. A little bit underwhelmed,
Yeah. Yeah, I can agree with
just a
that.
little bit. And I'm not like a movie hater where I hate everything. I usually like a lot of stuff, but this one I think I expected a little bit more chaos.
Well, it was one of those like ideas, one of those things where you could probably expand on it. I felt like they could have done more. They
You're
could have
just all
made
about
him.
that sequel. You just want a sequel
I
now.
just want to see I want to know who those other people are, and I also want to know why is he there, and I want to know who the hero is. There's always a hero,
Well,
and
maybe that's
maybe,
the point of this movie
but
though.
I'm saying maybe there will be a hero, but it's from the bad guy's perspective.
Maybe, but it's not like you can connect this to the MCU. You know what I mean? Like it's not like in the sequel all of a sudden Spider-Man's gonna show up. He's not like an actual super villain.
No, I know, but they might just make their
Just make their
own
own hero.
hero, just some different guy that comes in, but it's not focused on the hero, it's focused on the bad guy where you
Yeah.
kind of root for the bad guy in a way.
Oh, I didn't though. I didn't root for him at all.
No,
I
you
was like,
hate
kill
him
this
then.
little
Yeah.
freaking weirdo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially since his dad is such a likable character,
Yeah.
and but I mean, what did he think was going to happen? You shot him in the head. Do you think he was going to be like, okay, well,
Well, the dad thought he was gonna kill him
yeah,
with
but
that.
I'm saying afterwards when he's like, please don't kill me. It's like,
Well,
you should have just,
if you remember, he immediately loaded his rifle again to take a second shot.
yeah.
But by the time he fumbled around to load it, the kid was gone. Okay, and that's a gripe I have
Uh-huh.
that I brought up to you earlier, but not on the podcast. I didn't. They used the same trick like 4 times, and it was you see Brandon in his mask standing there, and then the camera pans away to the left and then goes back to where Brandon was, and now he's not there. And they did that
Yeah.
like 4 times, and it was like, "Come on." You know what I mean? Like, get creative with it. That's, like, almost as silly and corny as when somebody's in the bathroom and they open the mirror and no one's there, and then they shut it and someone's behind them.
Didn't that happen?
It kind of happened,
Yeah.
but when it
Yeah.
but when that's the part where Badger from Breaking Bad is basically he's brushing his teeth, and then Brandon is, like, standing
And
above
he's
him.
brushing his teeth with his eyes closed.
He's hammered.
Oh, yeah.
That's why he was fumbling around putting toothpaste on his brush.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and it was silly. It was kind of a silly movie. It was a cool concept, but it kinda was silly. So let's kinda just wrap this up a little bit. So, is there any final thoughts you had about the movie?
I feel like I said everything.
Would
I'm
you
just waiting for number 2.
get
I hope they make a number 2 just so that we know what's going on.
so this movie was called Brightburn. What do you think the sequel's gonna be called? Like, Slow Burn?
No, this one should have been called Slow Burn.
Yeah, but it really wasn't that slow.
It was good.
It was I mean, literally the first scene was a jump scare.
It was
That
entertaining.
was when the ship hit the ground, and it made me jump. There was a few jump scares. It was okay. It was cool. It was cool, but let me think. Would you? This is opening night that we saw this. So
Yeah.
Would you suggest this movie to anybody to go see in the theater,
Um,
or is this a rent it?
I would say rent it.
Yeah, me too.
I don't think it's worth seeing in the theater and wasting your money on it. I think you could easily just rent it and then watch it at home and, it's
Yeah,
just something that fills up your night, something to do.
yeah, it was a fun date night,
Yeah.
definitely. Um, um, okay, so I would say it's definitely a rent it, and I think it's a rent it if you're at Redbox or you're online and you're like, oh yeah, kind of wanted to see that movie.
Just check
I
it
don't think
out.
it's one
Yeah.
of those that like the minute it comes to streaming, like, oh yeah, I've been waiting to see Brightburn. I don't think it's that great. But if they do have a sequel, then hopefully it's better with a bigger budget and stuff. Hopefully people like this movie so you can get a good sequel.
Yeah.
So, okay, so what would you rate this movie out of 10?
Mm,
5 is just an average movie. 10 is excellent and 1 is like this movie sucks. It never should have been made.
mm, I would say like a 4.5.
Ooh, you think it's below average?
It's a
I thought you
little bit
liked it.
below. It's a little bit below average just because I don't really know what's going on.
Mhm.
So I would say 4.5.
Okay. Wow. I was gonna give it a 5, which is weird because I disliked it more than you did.
Yeah. But
Okay.
I feel like 4.5 is a fair.
I think 4.5 actually is a better score.
I think it's fair.
I think it's fair because it was a weak story,
Right.
very weak story. There was no story. It's just an alien comes to Earth, and then when he's 12, all of a sudden he hears something from a spaceship, and then he destroys the Earth or attempts to. That's it. It was silly.
Yeah.
It was rated R and it was gory, and that was the best part of it. Probably was just watching him kill people.
Yeah.
But then he was like very waverly with his emotions. Like some people he didn't kill, some people he did kill. Some people really pissed him off, and then when some people pissed him off, he killed them. Like it really is like what are your rules? What are your personal morals?
That's why towards the end, you got to see who he truly was. Once he killed his mom, that's it. He's evil. He killed the one person he probably loved the most in this whole world.
That
So,
backed him up. The one person that backed him up
yeah. So
and
once that's
backed
done,
her up to the ground.
there's nobody else he cares about.
That's true.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think overall 4.5 out of 10.
I think that's fair. Yeah.
Yeah. That's not a good score.
No, it's not a good
That's
score,
really not a good score.
but it's entertaining.
It's entertaining enough, I guess.
Yeah.
If you put it on, you don't even really have to pay attention to it. There's nothing you're gonna miss if you have to go to the bathroom. Like you might miss a kill, but it's not like watching freaking Black Panther when I had to go to the bathroom and I came back and I was like, "What happened?" You're like, "Basically, he just found out that he's cousins with Killmonger." I was like, "Oh, I guess I shouldn't have gone to the bathroom at that point." Nah,
Yeah.
but it was okay. So, yeah, thanks for doing this podcast with me, love. I
Of
really
course.
enjoyed having you on here, and I hope a lot of people listen to it, and I hope a lot of people like this movie and let me know what their thoughts are down in the comments or write me. Tell me what you would rate this movie. So that's it. Anything else you want to say?
Nope, that's it.
Okay. All right, guys. Thank you for listening. Have a good one.